or meditate on the form which we see in front of us on the screen. You have to have the eyes to see the transcendental form of the Lord. Covered, our eyes are covered. Yeah. Please remove the, it's not exactly a dazzling effulgence in this. Pardon? Pardon?
How are we doing?
We're doing quite okay. Thank you for asking. Very nice to us. That's really an English one. I've never heard a French person say that one before. That's really English. How are we doing now?
Do we show the video, the devotee on videos first, and then I speak, or?
It's amazing. I've had zero to do with this whole thing.
Me too.
The temple manager announced this morning that Visesa is doing a nice presentation this afternoon. And the manager's not here. What's wrong with him?
No, me?
I think they're probably exhausted.
I was asked to contact people.
Yeah, I think you can do whatever you think is the easiest for you. You need your technician at hand.
We need the technician.
Whatever we do, I think we need a technician. Here he is. Here's the king of technicians.
Oh, that's not really?
They're all coming.
You can start the video, right?
Yeah, we can start the video.
Est-ce qu'on ferme la
Well,
fenêtre ou pas?
Visesa, whatever Visesa wants
La
you to
fenêtre,
do.
on ferme.
I can speak a little bit.
Explain what's happening.
On voit assez bien, non? On voit assez bien, non?
Hare Krishna. Alors, je parle en anglais ou en français?
Yes, we talk, no?
Je peux pas parler. Je peux pas parler. So, I speak in which language, Marge? You don't know? Say,
I think majority here speak French.
Qui c'est qui comprend pas l'anglais?
Almost everyone speaks French.
qui c'est qui comprend pas le français? Who doesn't understand French?
Almost everyone.
Il y a deux personnes qui parlent pas l'anglais, deux personnes.
Et combien qui parlent pas le français? How many people don't speak French? Combien ils parlent pas français?
2.
Deux là.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Ok, alors anglais.
Il faut quelqu'un.
Alors il faut parler anglais alors.
Vous pouvez traduire?
Well, the video presentation
Is in English.
is in English, right?
Yeah, because at that time, I mean, no, there was French also devotees, but no one answered to my request.
No, somebody did.
In French, no.
In France, I don't know.
No.
4 people answered.
Yeah, yes, but they're English and American and Scottish. I asked French. I asked on Facebook everywhere. Alors,
Ah, je suis devant la vidéo, c'est ça?
Non, c'est bon, tu peux la monter.
il y en a 5 qui ne parlent pas français.
Il y a juste, s'il y a une des voix qui traduit là pour le.
Alors, elle va
Mais
traduire
toi
en
tu parles
français
anglais
ou en
aussi.
anglais?
Si tu parles anglais.
Si c'est besoin, je peux égaler.
Je parle. Je parle en anglais? Ok. So I didn't know it was today also, so a little surprise. It's all happening. I thought it was going to be on Balaram day that we were going to
Today is the
celebrate.
official installation day, is that correct?
No.
Well, that's what the question I asked was. And they
No,
said
they
it's
told me
today.
that you said that we should do it today. No, we did it on the 6th, which was the official solar day. Anyway, we're doing it today, so we're doing it today. The solar day was the 6th of August.
It's the Balaram's appearance day.
No, it was Prabhupada was here. we already did a presentation once on the 6th for the devotees of the temple. But now because the festival is 4 days, then I don't know, we decide we are going to make one day, the day of the festival. But I don't know the Deities. Krsna-Balaram got installed in 76 during Srila Prabhupada's visit. It's just because Prabhupada was visiting and it was the last day of his visit. I didn't know actually, but it's in the book of Arisori. It was, and actually we knew the date because of Arisori's book also, because we didn't really know things down at that time. So just to situate the things, in 76, it was 1 year the devotees were in Nouvelle Mayapur. We arrived in the summer of 75, and in the end of 75, on the 20, I don't remember which day of December, Gonitai were installed on Prabhupada's behalf by Vishwambar and Bhagavan, and then 6 months later Prabhupada came in the summertime, and then he installed personally Krsna-Balaram. So when Srila Prabhupada, I was not Pujari at the time. At the time I was 23, I had a baby of 7 months old and a little girl who was 3.5. But I had friends who were Pujaris. And one will speak, Sitala will speak. We just got her testimony this morning, just in time. She's the one who got the deities made. So, where I was, yeah. So in 76, in the summer, Prabhupada came, and he stayed for 10 days, and at the end of his visit, then Krsna-Balaram were installed. Maybe it was scheduled for that day, I don't know, I was not Pujari at the time. So when Prabhupada came in 75, for 24 hours, not even 1 day here, he sat here, at that place actually. They brought the Visesa from Paris, ahead from him, with the truck of spiritual sky, and they put it here, and then Prabhupada arrived, and he sat here. Because that was not the temple room. We had no temple room. The temple room was the Prashadam room here, next here. But from the beginning, that was going to be the temple room. But it was the one who built the castle that was La Salle de Bal, the ballroom. And after, it belonged to someone in the army, so it became the... When we arrived, it was to play the pool, le billard. And then the devotee decided it was going to be the temple room. And there was not that altar. The altar room was built, the wood around that little room which makes the altar, that was built by the devotees. It was built by Maniara. Not Manibonda. He was a wood builder. So it looks like it's the same wood, but it's not. It just dyed the same color. Non, the wood, la pièce là qui fait l'hôtel, elle n'existait pas, ça a été refait. La grande pièce, elle était comme ça, et l'hôtel, ça a été construit. On dirait que c'est du chêne, mais c'est pas du chêne. But the Sringasan comes from India, the marble comes from Italy. The Sringasan, we installed them when there was Rodani. So when Prabhupada came in 75, they asked him for which deities. It was Narottam asked Prabhupada which deities to install. And he wanted to install, Narottam, he wanted to put Radha and Krishna right away. But Prabhupada said no. I was not there, but I was reported that. Prabhupada said we were too fallen and we should have Gonitai. And then he spoke a little bit about how we were fallen apparently, and after he said, actually you can have Krsna-Balaram. So this was really new because there was Prabhupada just installed Krsna-Balaram in India, in Vrindavan. There was no Krishna-Balaram before. Then Prabhupada said we could have them in Mayapur. And he said maybe later on you can have Radha and Krishna. So at first they built 2 marble altars. Just 2. The third one was put much later, but at the same place. Gonita and Krishna. And I explained before to the devotees, there was an arch in wood and there was door like in Vrindavan in wood. We took it off when they installed Radha Govinda Madhava. And what is really special to have Krishna-Balaram deities, for the devotees who have been in India a long time ago, maybe some remember that actually there was no Krishna-Balaram deities even in India. I've been in Vrindavan. I started just to go in 83. There was no deities in any shop of Krishna-Balaram. It's Prabhupada, such a visionary. And he decided to install Krishna-Balaram in Vaisnavas, where in every temple it's Radha and Krishna. And in Mayapur he installed Radha and Krishna and the gopis, and a very small Chaitanya. And someone told me not long time ago that actually Prabhupada showed, he made a little sketch with les bonhommes en bâton, là, a little sketch, you know, with just...
Roman numbers?
No, stickman.
Stickman, yeah. You know when you make a head and like that, and he made a sketch of how he wanted Krishna-Balaram to be carved. He wanted Krishna-Balaram to be carved like that. In Vrindavan, and after, of course, then they start to do the Krishna-Balaram everywhere like that, with the hand on the shoulder. But the one who have been in Nandagram, they're not like that. I've seen in no temple in India, or even in Vrindavan, there is very few Krishna-Balaram. In Nandagram, they are both black and they both hold the flute. and I have been in a temple where the Balaram is even black in India. And I've been in one temple where the Balaram is white. But Krishna-Balaram, there was no temple and they were not sold anywhere in any shops. It took few years before they start to make small ones like the same than Krishna-Balaram. So it was a great favor for New Mayapur to have Krishna-Balaram because it was new. Just Prabhupada had decided for Vrindavan to have Krishna-Balaram. And in Prabhupada's life, actually there was just 3 temples. Vrindavan, us, and after in Australia. In Australia they also had Krishna-Balaram, but Prabhupada decided. No, there is everywhere in the world.
Everywhere?
At the farm.
No, that was after.
No, but it was agreed by Prabhupada, they told me. It was agreed by
Not
Prabhupada.
installed over.
No, not installed, but they were agreed. And they are the same deities like us, Radha and Krishna in the middle and Gonita and Krishna-Balaram. So that's for the story of Krishna-Balaram. So like the deities came before, so Gonita arrived first. I told the story that, you know, we opened the box, they took them in the back room, and they opened the box, we could see them. Then Krishna-Balaram arrived a few months later, and the devotees were so eager that that time also they opened the box and they look. We look. And the cows. They opened, there was 4 boxes for Krishna-Balaram. Yeah. And we were many at that time. I don't know, we stand in that little back room for the one who know the back room. Really the one who is behind the deities is very small. But we opened the box during the night, And then Krishna-Balaram stayed in that room. And but Gonita were already installed, and then the pujari, the one who were sewing, they were going downstairs to make everything fit on them. So there will be the devotee, my best friend, who also trained me for the deities, the dress and everything, Sitala. She's the one who had those deities carved, and she will speak now. So I contacted, I tried to contact as many people that I had the contact, so if they could speak. We didn't want to do Zoom because the Wi-Fi jumps here often. but it was difficult to get the people to make little video of themselves. For the devotee who are then, we have Krsna-Balaram, which is rare. We just got from China. I got him through Radhacharan from India, who sent it to me, going like that. And there is Ania, who was taking care of the cows at that time. The answer is in England. He was 16 when he was here. Ania. You know him? Yeah. Yeah, he's in England, yeah. And there is so Krsna-Balaram, Ania, Sitala, and Mother Kripa, but she just speaks. So she will, I think she has arranged a slide during that time. Ania. And then for the one where here before, Manu, who was in the Gurukul here. So now he's Mano, that's his name? Manoram. So he works for Krishna.com, and this year they have no bus tour. So he sent from the archive all the photos he found from when Prabhupada came and of the installation. Well, I will say frankly, there is maybe 5 from the installation. So I can go on speaking a little bit, or we can show the devotees.
J'ai une question. Est-ce que c'était pas appelé New Gokul au début?
Non.
Jamais?
Non, ça s'appelait... she asked if we were not called New Gokul. No. The first name was New Baulaban or New Talavan. But when Gonitai were installed, they sent the photo of Gonitai to Srila Prabhupada, and when he saw the photo, he changed her name to New Mayapur.
New Baulaban.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
There was an eclipse.
Yeah, not. The day they arrived from the airport, there was an eclipse. Yeah, they told Prabhupada the day they arrived in the truck from the airport, there was an eclipse.
That's what made Prabhupada change the name.
I don't know. Just I was here, but just what I heard is Prabhupada saw the photo and he found them so beautiful. They are very beautiful. Yeah, but he don't want to come. He don't want to come. He's Alzheimer now. I invite him. I invite him to come. He doesn't remember anything. But he told me the story. And it was Govardhan's husband, first husband, who drove the van from Spiritual Sky. Yeah, there was an eclipse when he was driving. It was amazing, and we saw it here in New Mayapur. We were waiting. There was a moon eclipse when Gonitai arrived here in New Mayapur. Anyway, then Prabhupada changed the name. That I have seen on internet so many stories people say, but it's people who were not here at that time. And I was living here, and they just told us once that Prabhupada saw the photo, and now her name was New Mayapur, so we changed her name after. I don't know, we were here for half a year at that time. And so, yeah, there is also some controversy of people who say why Radha and Krishna are in the middle. But you see in Krsna-Balaram Mandir, the deities were planned. It was planned to be Krsna-Balaram Mandir. And Krsna-Balaram are bigger than Gonitai and Radha and Krishna and Krsna-Balaram Mandir. You don't see it when you're in the temple room, but if you see the deities before and if you see their outfit, Gonitai and Krishna are smaller. It was planned that they were going to be in the middle. Here it was not planned, so it happened, and they were not installed all together. Each deities were installed at different years, 75, 76, and then 79. So if you want, we can look, I didn't even look at it, what Sitala says, because it just arrived today. So she got the deities and she made the outfit and like this. She knows much more than me. Me, I just know what I heard from her about getting the deities. I can speak after about the installation here and what I saw, but she's the one who got them. Maybe we should start the video now. Tu peux mettre? Comme ça va situer.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all, you wonderful devotees in France, for inviting me to participate in this anniversary of Krishna-Balaram's installation. I feel honored. I wish I was there. I was kind of planning, but maybe I could be there this year, but COVID had other plans. So I'll try to say something about what I remember of those times, how we got the deities, how they came, the installation. My memory is not so good, it's a long time ago, but I do remember some things, so I'll try to share that. First want to offer my obeisances to all of you. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Om ajnanatmanandasya jnananjana salakaya chakshurum militam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. So to begin, a little history. Why we got Krishna-Balaram, why they were the first, after Gornitai, why we didn't get Radha and Krishna, why they were the second deities that were installed. So this happened at Srila Prabhupada's first visit when he came to Nouvelle Mayapur. He saw the property, he was so happy, and he loved it. And as far as I remember, there was a discussion with Bhagavan and Srila Prabhupada, and Bhagavan said, well, so we will install deities here. Should we install Radha and Krishna? And Srila Prabhupada looked surprised and said, we cannot worship Radha and Krishna. Which was surprising because, around the world people were worshipping Radha and Krishna. So, Prabhupada went on to explain, our deity that we worship is Gornitai. We go through Gornitai. Now, I don't know exactly how he expanded on that, but that was the idea. So, Bhagavan was assimilating this, okay, we'll do Gornitai here. And then after explaining that, it seems just Srila Prabhupada, my speculation was just kind of, don't take this lightly, understand what we're doing. It's a big thing to install Radha and Krishna. We begin with Gornitai. And so once he established that point, then he said, and you can also get Krishna and Balaram. So that was exciting. That was like, oh, Krishna and Balaram, we wouldn't have thought of it. It was uncommon. There was only one set of Krishna and Balaram that had been installed in ISKCON at that time, and it was just a little while before. It was 75, so Krishna and Balaram in Vrindavan were the first Krishna and Balaram to be installed. So this was to be the second Krishna Balaram to be installed. So that was unique in the world. So this was something special, and devotees that were in the room were embracing that. Wow, Krishna Balaram, wonderful. And then after Prabhupada, then he said, and then you can get Radha and Krishna. So he wanted us to understand the process. How do we do this? To think very carefully about how we worship. So that's a special thing, that it was Srila Prabhupada's desire, and he established that he wanted Krishna and Balaram. So that's special in the world. so those deities were ordered in Jaipur. Now, I will admit that because I got quite a lot of deities made in Jaipur, and we did Gaurnitai, Krsna-Balaram, and Radhamadhav in Nouvelle Mayapur. I was involved in ordering the deities, getting their clothing, and shipping things, and then bringing things back. So I've kind of, as time has gone by, merged a little bit of these histories, so it may not be so accurate, but the point being is that this order was made for first Gaurnitai and then Krsna-Balaram. So this was actually a very new thing that was happening in Jaipur. They hadn't dealt with Westerners before, only Jamuna and Bhardraj, who had come for carving the deities for Vrindavan. So this was kind of the first ones after that, where they also needed to specially custom make deities, because that wasn't really the way it was done so much. They have deities that are carved, and usually they have clothing on them. That's what people just come in and they buy them. But we have our desire, that we're going to dress these deities beautifully, and we want to facilitate that they're made in the way that for dressing. So that means, a space between Krishna's arm so that we can put his chadar, that the hole in his fingers are big enough so we can get flute through, so that there's space between his legs so we can put the dhoti through. So all these things were relatively new to these murtiwalas. So we had to go many, many times to see that they're doing it right. We also like the eyes a little bit bigger and a little longer. So we had our special way that we, ISKCON style was just now developing. And so we had to go there a number of times to make sure. Now with Krsna-Balaram, all I remember is that they were gorgeous. They just came gorgeous. It wasn't due to a lot of effort, which is unusual. Sometimes with many different deities, we had to work, do carving, change things, But, Balaram especially was so beautiful. And, so once they're made, that was like a big deal because they weren't used to packing deities for international travel so much yet. So that was something we had to really sit there, watch, get the boxes made, get the appropriate kind of, filling so that they were, and it was all so dangerous and scary, that, if they're not packed right, and then we would have to load them into a jeep and drive slowly all the way to Delhi, and carefully because the roads were really bad at that time. It was, a scary process that they would be, they would arrive without being broken, so then we took them, to make sure, we took them directly to the airport in Delhi, and then they were sent to France. And meanwhile, I was still staying in Vrindavan to get the crowns, the necklaces, everything that's required. All the cloth for their clothes and the trims and everything, because in those days, it hadn't started yet that we got custom-made outfits. We just pretty much made them ourselves. We bought cloth, saris, trims, appliques, and then we would make them. I don't remember if I made some while I was in Vrindavan or just when we came back, but we had to make these, the ankle bells and the flutes, and we had to make that big club for Balaram, and that was a real trippy getting this stuff back to France. The big club, it's like big like this, and a big plow for him. So those were specially made in Vrindavan, and it was a real trip because it wasn't really legal to take that much silver out at that time, but somehow or another we negotiated it, and also had to go to Bombay to get the silver plates and the lotas, which I think some of that stuff you still have, you still use. And so all of that was going on. It was a lot of work in India to get ready. And then the arrival of the deities in France, I have to say that I'm not sure, because I remember I was there once when deities arrived. I don't know if it was Gornitai or Krsna-Balaram. It was late at night, and we brought the boxes into the back room, what's now the Pujari rooms, and with mega kirtan, and everyone was so excited. And they opened the box, and Bhagavan first said, "No, we're not showing." And then I don't remember, did they show just the feet or they showed the face? But again, I'm not sure. Maybe someone there remembers whether that was Gornitai or Krsna-Balaram, but I'm sure it was an exciting experience when they arrived. Anyway. So then we had to begin a big, mega sewing marathon, day and night. And there were many all-nighters to prepare all these things for the installation. And thank Krishna that we had Kanti Devi and Atita Gamana, who's another god sister who's from Holland. And they're really seamstresses, really good. They knew what they were doing. And so, you know, it was just full steam ahead. We had so much work to do. And at the same time, because Prabhupada was going to come, so we had to prepare Srila Prabhupada's rooms, his whole quarters, everything had to be done. So I remember that Atita Gamana and I went to London, and we bought all the cloth that's there. It's still all the same stuff. The cloth for the asana, there's many pictures of Prabhupada sitting on that, and for the bed, and we got the saffron silk wallpaper that we had to put up, which was a lot harder than we expected, and curtain material, and the silver plates that are still there in his room, I believe, the carpets, you know, we just had to get everything. And then the other things like Prabhupada's bookshelves and his desk were ordered from Italy, I believe. And so that was another marathon that was going on, and many devotees, many involved. I remember, and then we had this idea that we should gold leaf the edges in the room. And again, we didn't know how hard that would be. And in the end, many devotees had to come in and frantically try to finish before Prabhupada was going to come, you know. So then there was, of course, there's Srila Prabhupada's arrival there, and the installation day. Unfortunately, we don't have, I haven't seen any photos of that day, other than the one that, the most incredible, beautiful picture of Srila Prabhupada climbing up. We had built a platform. My battery is running low. I may have to stop. Should have thought of that. That day of the installation, I honestly, because I was behind the scenes, I don't remember so much of the actual what was going on in the temple room, because we were just preparing everything. I remember that Jayatirtha had come from London to help out, and he was a big help because he was a pujari. And although when it came time to dress the deities, I was supposed to dress Krsna-Balaram, and Jayatirtha came in into the deity room just as I was about to begin. And he said, I'm dressing. And I said, I was so surprised that I just blurted out, no, you're not. We've been like preparing for this for ages and ages. I'm dressing. And so, not very submissive. So he said, he understood. So he said, okay, how about, you know, that we have to do this really fast because we're going to open really quickly and then Prabhupada's going to go out and do the initiations and all. So I was like, oh, we only had, I mean, he said something like, we have to do this in like 15, 20 minutes. So he said, I'll do Balaram, you do Krishna. So I said, okay, all right, that's fair enough. So we very quickly dressed, but in the meantime, all the devotees went out, Srila Prabhupada went out, and they started the initiations out there. So actually, it was a very odd installation in the sense that everyone went out, and this went, you know, the initiations, there's many pictures of that. It went on for a long time, and Prabhupada was unwell. So Prabhupada, when they were finished outside, Prabhupada went up to his room. And so there was no moment when there was the big opening of the curtains and everyone roared. It was just kind of a trickling in of devotees, and we finally opened the curtains. It had been a long time, so it hadn't happened as we thought it was going to happen. And nevertheless, everyone that trickled in was totally enchanted by the beauty of Krishna and Balaram. And I just remember how, still to this day, on the side, you know, the sunshine streams in, and at a certain time it's right on Krishna and Balaram's face, especially Balaram, just like so exquisitely beautiful. And so they really, Krishna and Balaram, as far as I remember, really captured the hearts of the devotees there very quickly, especially the kids, the Gurukul kids. I remember talking with different kids once they'd grown up. And actually I tell a little, there was a reunion at some point, I don't know, 10 years, 15, whatever years ago. And I had gone there for that at Nouvelle Mayapur. And Manjari, Bhagavan's daughter, had come. I hadn't seen her in many, many years, and I saw that, you know, I was very happy to see her. And then I saw that she went directly into the temple room. And then she didn't come out for, I don't know, a couple of hours. I kept going by, yeah, she's still in there, because I wanted to see her, say hello. And she was there for 2 or 3 hours. And later I said, wow, you were in there for so long. And she looked at me like, what were you doing? She looked at me like I was an idiot. You know? You people will never understand. You don't know what it's like when you're a little kid. That's my Balaram. I love that Balaram. And, you know, I could understand it was so true, you know. She said, oh, for you it's like this, you know, mental thing. You know, for us, we were children. And, you know, every morning we saw Krishna and Balaram. They're real. They were our people that we came to see, our lords. And what ring he's wearing today. So, you know, that was a lesson there. In love, I could see that somehow, and I'm sure this is a case with, despite whatever we've all been through, so many people, just their hearts, especially the young kids, were just captivated by the beauty of Krishna and Balaram. So, you know, I see that this is really, what an extraordinary and historical event we have had the blessing to be part of. The first time in history, in the million years that the world has existed, the first time that in France, that France was specifically blessed by the presence of Krishna and Balaram. What a historical event it is. I mean, maybe we don't see now, but the impact of the Lord coming into that country and sitting down there and staying there. This has to have broad, reverberating on into the future effect on the people and the country. I see it like that. I don't know. And even it is very unique in ISKCON history, because no other Krishna-Balaram other than in Vrindavan was installed by Srila Prabhupada's hand personally. His desire that he wanted them there, he put them there. It's a big thing, and it's unique. It didn't happen anywhere else. You know, it's special to New Mayapur. And I would say there's one other very, I think, historical event that I want to mention that happened at that time when Prabhupada was there. Previously, for the installation of Krishna-Balaram, for the opening of the Krishna-Balaram temple in Vrindavan, many of the French devotees went, a large group went to India. And I think it is a devotee named Chanarari who came back, and despite being told not to, he took a stone from Govardhan, and we knew they were really important, but it wasn't clear yet how important. So he brought back a stone from Govardhan in Sheila, and a stick from where the gopis hung their clothes, the tree. And so when Bhagavan heard that, saw that, he went, "Oh no, you can't do that. You can't just take." So he called me and he said, "Just put this stone and this Sheila and this stick on the altar." So we had them just on the altar, and whoa, this just fell over. Sorry, I'm not very good at doing these kind of things. So at some point, I'm not sure who it was, came to the door and said, "Is that a Govardhan Sheila? And I'm going to take that up to Prabhupada. You're not supposed to just have it sitting on the altar." So I said, "Okay, take it to Prabhupada." So then Prabhupada saw, and he said, because it was like this should go back. This should go back to Vrindavan. And then Prabhupada said, "No, this Sheila can stay here. They can worship." So it didn't happen immediately because Prabhupada told Pradyumna to explain to Bhagavan about how you worship a Govardhan Sheila. So when Pradyumna explained those things to Bhagavan, he scared him to death. He said, "Oh, this is the highest worship. If you make offenses, then everything becomes inauspicious." So it was a bit scary. So Bhagavan told me to put this Sheila in, there was a beautiful kind of jeweled box that was in Prabhupada's room, and we just left that Sheila there. At some point I went to Bhagavan and said, "I don't think it's right. I think we shouldn't, why should he be in a dark box, hungry, because we're afraid we'll make an offense." So eventually, yeah, that happened. But as far as I know, I could be wrong, but as far as I know, Srila Prabhupada did not authorize or give any other Govardhan Sheila to be worshipped during the time that he was present. I mean, if anyone knows different, let me know. So as you can see that, it's extraordinary what we're part of. It's a fabulous day to just say thank you for all of that, for Krishna-Balaram, for coming to France and staying through all the ups and downs and lots of downs. But still they're just smiling there, giving us our darshan, for so long. And so it's a good day, to just meditate on, our astounding fortune we've had to just participate in any way in this wonderful Leela of Krishna-Balaram coming to France and serving them there. You know, whatever. It's a very, very special place. Despite difficulties and austerities, it is an extraordinary fortune to be there, to see them, to serve them in this unique place where Srila Prabhupada installed them with his transcendental hand. And also his personal quarters that are there, that he stayed in. There's so few places in the world where there's such a situation. I mean, I don't know, outside of India, maybe there's the Manor in Los Angeles, where Prabhupada's quarters are there, where he sat, and you know, and also the deity that he installed. So it's amazing. It's an amazingly special place, special deities, and special devotees that, you know, that take care of them and that keep it all going. And, you know, because it's our responsibility that we keep it going on for hundreds of years. These were things like at the time of the Goswamis, Gopal Bhatta Goswami and Sri Jiva Goswami, they thought, they made plans. How will this worship go on? How will it continue, you know, to the standard that we've established? This is so important to meditate on. We're talking hundreds of years, you know. Had Jiva Goswami and Gopal Bhatta Goswami specifically done what they, you know, been so forward thinking, then these deities in Vrindavan, you know, this wouldn't still be going on. So we have a big weight of responsibility to carry on with what Prabhupada gave us, the standards, and, you know, remain enthusiastic to do so. And yeah, because there's really, we're connected with all of this, and it's just powerful mercy flowing down to us if we're willing to just, you know, let it come in by the grace of Srila Prabhupada. So thank you so much for letting me be here. I hope I didn't speak too long, but you know, it's a wonderful event. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktavranta Swami Nityanamri Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Visesa Devi Dasi Anchakata Puruvicha Kripisandi Vevacha Pridinam Pavanavam Vaishnaveli Namaha. Hare Krishna. So my name is Aniha Das, and I was at New Mayapur taking care of the cows, and in 75, 76, 77. And Prabhupada, he came to New Mayapur twice, the first time in 1975, and he only stayed just for one night. And at the time, that was only a few months or so after the devotees had moved in, and the commandant and his wife, they were still living in the building, and they were living in what is now Prabhupada's rooms. So Prabhupada stayed in one of the rooms further down the corridor. And I think also one of the commandant's men was also in the water tower with his family, wife or family. So Prabhupada just came for one night. There was no, Vyasasam had come down from Paris. But when Prabhupada came in 1976, things were a lot more developed. There was already Gaunitai there. Devotees had worked very hard to develop the temple room. And I remember Srila Prabhupada wasn't supposed to come to New Mayapur. He had been very sick. But Bhagavan Prabhu, the GBC, he was hoping that Prabhupada would come to France. And he had all the devotees out, every single devotee who could be spared. The devotees who normally wouldn't go outside, he had them working in the gardens, in the fields and in the gardens to make them look nice. And but Bhagavan Prabhu, he went to England, and he persuaded Sri Prabhupada. Prabhupada very mercifully agreed to come to France. And I heard that Prabhupada said, Bhagavan is the supreme controller, what can I do? So Prabhupada accepted Bhagavan's desires, Bhagavan's wishes, and to please all the devotees in France, give his mercy to all the devotees. So Prabhupada came over, and he spent, what was it, 6 days, and he was very sick. At first, he wasn't able to walk, or not very much at all. My service was taking care of the cows, and I remember I don't know if it was there must have been the second day after Prabhupada was there. He gave a lecture in the woods, just outside, near to the chateau. And I don't think many devotees were on that walk and heard that lecture, because devotees were doing other things. Like, for instance, I was out doing my cow service, whatever. And I personally thought, oh, Prabhupada couldn't walk. He was too sick to walk. So I missed that lecture, I didn't even know. And the second day, I think the same thing happened. Prabhupada also went in the woods and gave a lecture. And I can remember I was a little bit upset that I hadn't been able to hear Prabhupada's lecture. And then the third day, then Prabhupada instead, he gave a lecture out between the cow shed, which is under the water tower, and the vegetable gardens on that stretch of grass, triangular stretch of grass there, and which was very, very nice, because I was very happy, because it meant I was able to see that, attend that lecture. And I was very particular about milking the cows on time. Vishambar Prabhu had been a dairy farm, or he'd been brought up on a dairy farm in Canada. Vishambar Prabhu, the temple president, and he'd insisted you always milk the cows at the same time, morning and evening, every day. So milking the cows meant that Prabhupada started his lecture at the same time when the cows were being milked. So I missed like the first 10 minutes or so of those lectures, because I thought, oh, I had to keep to the times. And I can remember that Srila Prabhupada, when I was just bringing the cows into the cow shed, and Srila Prabhupada with all the devotees was walking down from the chateau, from the castle, and I paid my obeisances and brought the cows in from a distance, and another devotee, he suddenly came in, Prabhupada's coming in the cow shed, let me sit down, let me milk the cows as well. So he wasn't the cow head, I gave him a stool or whatever, and he squatted down. He was also like pretending to milk the cows, and I was also milking them. Prabhupada he stepped in and he looked around, and I think he asked Harisori Prabhu, he asked how many cows we have, and Vishambar Prabhu answered. And Prabhupada went out, and then Prabhupada then sat on the grass. And there's one tape from those lectures where you can hear the cows mooing in the background. And one Swiss devotee had donated some cowbells, and we'd put them on before Prabhupada came, or just at the same time. We'd put these cowbells around the cows' necks, and Harisori Prabhu had come down. He said, "You must please take these cowbells off. They're disturbing Prabhupada at night, because they're quite loud bells and making quite a noise through the fields. Prabhupada awake at night and doing his translating." And so those lectures, for about 4 days, Prabhupada would give those lectures, and all the devotees around. And I can remember one lecture. I think Prabhupada had quoted the verse from the Bhagavad Gita, Manmano Bhavamatbhakto, and he Prabhupada, that Krishna is saying, "Become my devotee, offer your homage unto me." And Prabhupada is saying, what is the difficulty? And Prabhupada, many times he would say that, what is the difficulty? What is the difficulty? Very simple, just become my devotee. Always think of me, become my devotee, pay your obeisances to me. And what is the difficulty? Prabhupada would say that many times, and he said that during this lecture. And Sri Krsna-Balaram, he wrote his book, What is the Difficulty? What is the Difficulty? So, another thing I can remember from those lectures, there was one young fellow, one guest, who was a bit, a bit of a show off. He was trying to show off, and he said to Prabhupada, he asked a question. He said, "Can't we become Muslim also?" Something like that. Can we read the Quran and worship Allah and reach the same destination? And Prabhupada was very dismissive. I can't remember exactly, but he said something like, "Oh, you have my blessings. You become a Muslim. You have my blessings." And so another service I was given very fortunate, was Prabhupada's night guard. And after I think 2 nights, I was outside Prabhupada's room. I got hold of a piece of copper piping or something. I thought I'd use it as a weapon. I was sitting outside Prabhupada's room, and I could hear through the door. I could hear Prabhupada's voice through the door. And then after the 3rd day, then I think what happened was one devotee had arrived in the middle of the night. He'd driven up, and he said there was no one outside. No one had challenged him when he'd driven up. So like the 3rd night, then I was asked to walk around the building instead. It was very warm, middle of the summer, so it was lovely and warm. So there I was walking, circumambulating around the building. And but because I was a cowherd boy, and Srila Prabhupada had drunk the milk from the cows that I'd milked, I felt very satisfied. I thought that's the perfection of a cowherd boy's service. That Srila Prabhupada had actually drunk the same milk that from my own hands that I'd milked those cows. And also I've always felt very satisfied, happy that I was able to be Prabhupada's night guard. I don't know what I could have done if anyone had come. I'm not very strong, but that I could do something like that. And so Prabhupada was so merciful. He gave us so many unqualified persons. We're all unqualified, but Prabhupada gave us some little service for our benefit. Not that we can do anything of value for Srila Prabhupada. Obviously, lots of devotees did do some very valuable service, but even insignificant persons, Prabhupada gave them the opportunity to do some service like that, to milk cows for pure Vaishnava and to be his guard, night guard. And years later, I was in my occupation after I got married. I worked night shift for many years. So I was always thinking, the perfection of my night shift years was when I was Prabhupada's night guard. So, thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Jai Prabhupada. There's something else I remembered. When Srila Prabhupada first went into the temple room and saw his Visesa. I'm pretty sure the marble floor had been laid down before, like for going time. But anyway, Prabhupada had never seen a Visesa before. And I heard from one other devotee, I was way behind, so I wasn't there to see it, but I heard from another devotee when Prabhupada came in. When he first saw that Visesa, his eyes opened wide. And he went like this, he nodded his head from side to side like this, so Prabhupada was very satisfied, very pleased with that Visesa. And I think he only sat on it maybe once. I'm not sure that could have been for the installation of Krsna-Balaram, which I know because he was giving his lectures outdoors, so he only sat on that Visesa maybe once or twice. So he was very pleased with it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Visesa, it's Kripa. I was thinking a lot about the installation of our beautiful Sri Krsna-Balaram. And what I want to share with you
is just the feeling that we all had whenever Srila Prabhupada came to New Mayapur or any temple or place that we might be. It was like we were all transported to a spiritual planet. It was like an ecstatic, excited bubble in which we were just anticipating Srila Prabhupada's arrival and how we could please him and how we would, take shelter of his lotus feet. And so I know we were all, the entire New Mayapur was just ecstatically anticipating his coming. Even he was ill, and we were so worried about his well-being. Still underneath, somehow or other, we thought Srila Prabhupada would live forever. We could never imagine not having Srila Prabhupada's presence. So I just remember all the preparation, his beautiful room with the saffron silk wallpaper and the gold leaf and just all of that, and all the preparations for the altar, and Shri Gorni Tai looking so beautiful, and the clothing that was about to be prepared, and the most gorgeous Krishna-Balaram deities ever. So I guess it was sort of like, I don't know, it was like just this mass community of devotee family anticipating the most amazing appearance of our spiritual master. I was a mom of Gaur Shakti, and so in my heart I was just thinking at every moment, how can I make sure that Gaur gets association of Srila Prabhupada and gets his blessings? The most important thing for his life would be to be just blessed by Srila Prabhupada. He'd been in contact with Srila Prabhupada when he was in my womb. He was in contact with Srila Prabhupada a number of times since then. And so that was, my focus was how to make sure that Gaur Shakti had Prabhupada's benediction. Yeah, I don't have a lot else to share. I was not a pujari at the time. I was not, I was really basically being Gaur's mom and trying to help within the community in any way that I possibly could. So that's what I have to share, and I hope that somehow or other you can use this, you can edit it in any way that you think would be a good idea, that you could share this with the devotees. I offer my most humble obeisances to all the Vaisnavas and Vaishnavis at New Mayapur, to all the devotees who were there to help establish New Mayapur, to the most beautiful Krishna-Balaram deities on the whole planet and beyond, to Shri Radha Govinda Madhava, to Shri Gorni Tai, and to our most beloved Srila Prabhupada, who we're always still trying to prepare a place for him in our hearts every single day. So thank you for letting me share, and I'm looking forward to hearing everybody else's beautiful memories of that very special occasion 45 years ago.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to all the devotees serving Krishna-Balaram in New Mayapur. And all glories to those of you who remain attracted to this wonderful project so dear to Srila Prabhupada. I was a very young devotee, 4 or 5 months old, when Srila Prabhupada visited New Mayapur in 1976 for the installation of the deities of Krishna-Balaram. So I have a very little memory of the incidents that happened before and during the installation of the deities. But I do remember very well that the temple roof was about to collapse, with so many devotees trying to squeeze in and be part of this memorable event. I was one of those who succeeded in entering the temple room And in order to have a good view of the installation, I was standing on the small stone balcony of one of the windows on the back of Srila Prabhupada's Vyasasana on the right side. I could have a very good view of Krishna-Balaram standing there on a raised platform in that area of the temple in front of Shri Radha Govinda Madhava. I don't recall if the devotees had already begun the Abhisheka without the presence of Srila Prabhupada, because the rumors circulating were that Srila Prabhupada felt too weak and would not come down to the temple. But suddenly Srila Prabhupada decided to come down, and I remember well when he walked in, he looked very weak. From the point where I was standing, I could see him walking. He looked very weak. And as he was trying to climb the few steps leading to the top of the platform, Srila Prabhupada lost a little of his balance. And amazingly, with his left hand, he took shelter of Sri Balaram by holding on his arm or shoulder. I don't remember very well. I believe none of us would have done that, knowing well that the deities are quite fragile and they stand on a small base. But Srila Prabhupada did it. It took me a few years to realize that for Srila Prabhupada, these were not marble statues, but actually they were the Supreme Lord himself, Sri Balaram and Krishna. Balaram is an expansion of the Lord that sustains everything in existence. He is the original Guru, so he is the shelter of his dear devotees. So Srila Prabhupada, as Balaram's representative, actually took shelter on Balaram when he lost a little bit of equilibrium while climbing the last step of that small staircase leading to the platform. It was amazing. I had always been very fascinated by the beauty of Shri Gaura until then, because they were the only deities we had. But when Krishna-Balaram posed right next to Gaura Nitai, my admiration shifted more to Krishna-Balaram, most particularly to Balaram. Let's face it, dear devotees, he is the most beautiful Balaram installed in this world, and in my humble opinion, is the most beautiful and attractive deity in New Mayapur. Well, we know Balaram is the manifestation of Krishna's beauty. If you feel worried, if you feel down, disappointed, unhappy, distressed, just go in front of Sri Balaram and everything dissipates. His beautiful face creates such a cooling effect in our minds. It's just more than amazing. Many devotees have had this experience. And if you're already peaceful and happy, you'll feel even happier by having the darshan of Krishna-Balaram. So sometime later, I got my first initiation and I received the name of Krishna-Balaram Das. I was so ecstatic by having a name related to those deities that I was the most attracted to. So it was amazing. So I offer my sincere dandavats to all of you who are serving Krishna-Balaram in New Mayapur. You are so fortunate, so fortunate. Jai Shri Krsna-Balaram ki jai, Shri Gaura ki jai, Radha Govinda Madhava ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Pramanandi, Hari 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 Bol.
Hello dear devotees of New Mayapur, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak about my memories of the installation of Krishna and Balaram. Unfortunately, I wasn't in New Mayapur. When it came to Srila Prabhupada's visit, I was living in Italy, and the devotees became very excited because everybody was being given the opportunity to visit New Mayapur, to see Srila Prabhupada and to be present at the installation of Krishna and Balaram. But somebody had to stay back to look after Sri Gaura. And it was initially decided that Ali Krishna was going to stay back, but she was translating from English into Italian in the BBT offices in Milan, and as soon as she heard that Prabhupada was going to be in New Mayapur, she jumped on a train and left. And so it fell to me to stay back to look after Gaunitai. And all the devotees left except for a team of 4. So there was myself, Mrityuhara, who was ostensibly to be the temple president in those 4 days, Artiha, who was to be the assistant pujari, and I think it may have been Bhutika or Yavanaha, who stayed behind to be the deity cooks. And myself, I stayed to be Gaunitai's pujari. Those 4 days are a very intense memory for me, even though I wasn't there for the installation of Krishna-Balaram. We were responsible for every single thing that happened to the temple, including receiving guests, and for myself, I was responsible for waking the deities, putting the deities to bed, 6 artis, 6 offerings, and having time to chant japa. And my clearest memory of those times is lying on my back with my feet on the wall, just trying to take a breath and trying to catch some time, because I was really, really shattered. And so was the rest of us. And we became very, very close. We were all each supporting the other. And until such time as the devotees returned, all full of, oh, Prabhupada said, and it was wonderful, and oh, it was a pity you couldn't be there. But to tell the truth, those 4 days, with just us 4 devotees, it's so intensely engaged in devotional service to the deities and maintaining the temple, were my most intense experience of serving Srila Prabhupada in his Vani expression. In other words, following Prabhupada's instructions. And I felt intensely Prabhupada present with us at every single moment, because we were fulfilling his wishes and his mission. So I hope you have a wonderful festival. I hope all of the memories that you receive from other devotees, I get an opportunity to see also. I might learn something that I never knew. But thank you for the invitation, and those of my memories of 45 years ago. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Voilà, ils ont tout dit, hein. J'ai plus rien dit.
Where's that message here? Is it Kripa?
Yeah, Kripa.
Where's she now?
San Diego.
Pardon?
San Diego.
San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego. But she wants to move here. She is planning to come next summer, because this year is not possible because of COVID. And she's not retired yet, but her husband is, and she really wants to finish her life in New Mayapur. And she says she has insurance, you know, everything. So she's asking me details because she was in France for many years, like Indra Swami, you know, 13 years. So there was a carte de séjour and all that. So she's asking me about all those things, how to do. But it's the dream of her life is to finish her days here. And she has made donation for the roof this year, and she has given me 2 donations for the outfit also this year. A lot of devotees are supporting. Today Suchan, the one who remembers Suchan, wrote to me, and she wants to give a donation for Krishna-Balaram for his appearance day. What everyone says true is that everyone who was here before were much attached to Krishna-Balaram. Even me, when they asked me to be a pujari, I said just if I can continue dressing Krishna-Balaram. I didn't want to dress for Govinda Manava at first. They say yes, 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 but when I arrive here, they say no. You have to dress Govinda Madhava, but I didn't want it. I wanted to dress Krishna-Balaram. So, yeah, I think they say more or less everything there is to be said, except, I don't know, yeah, that there was the diet.
Gopaswami Prabhu here then?
He's here? Yeah, Gopaswami was here. I spoke last time. You were not there last time? He's here. He just got out of jail when Prabhupada arrived here.
Hey, we know the truth now.
Yeah, what I wanted to say that no one mentioned what was special when Prabhupada was here is that what Ania said, we all remember. Prabhupada was sick, so he could not come. But Bhagavan went to England and he begged him to come. And Prabhupada said it has to be hot. I want to go to India because it's hot. And it was a drought here. It's a drought very well known in France, 76. A lot of animals die because it was so hot and so dry. So he said, no problem, there is a drought. And then after, je dois arrêter, ça continue? Oui. Ah oui, je vais vite. And then he said, but it has to be quiet. Then Bhagavan said it will be really quiet. So no devotees were allowed to live in the castle. No one. There was Srila Prabhupada, and then there was Bhagavan and Vishvambar, and then the Pujaris, Sitala and Kanti and Mataili. That was all. That's an old photo. It's after the installation.
Are we going to have a slideshow now?
Yeah. No problem for me.
Some kirtan, doing kirtan? Have nice kirtan, is that okay?
Oh yeah, for me it's perfect.
We have one with Krishna-Balaram. No. And then we have a very long one with almost 400 pictures of Prabhupada.
Non, laissez. C'est pas ça. C'est bien.
New Mayapur? That's what it used to look like?